Good day, everybody. This is Yin Yang, finally on time for once, at 5:10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time in California. I have Morsels of a Thought number 1514 for you. I am trying to entertain you a little bit to have a great day, impart a morsel of a thought of wisdom. The fortune cookie I had many years ago said, knowing the right thing to do is wisdom, and doing it is virtue. So we are bringing more virtue into the world by learning the right things to do. Ay, ay, ay. Right? Inspire people. I'm going to read the afterword message from the authors in the R Factor National Bestseller. Discover the universal rhythms for leading prosperous relationships. The R Factor: Evolving Our Human Relationship Story by Ken Ashby and Maris Segal. I finally got that name right. For once. Afterward, a message from the authors. Show up with respect, stand up and be responsible, reframe limiting beliefs, step forward with resilience. We have one life to live, one body, and one planet. Relationships are the most significant factor impacting and influencing every aspect of our lives, personal, professional, and with the planet. Like air and water, good or bad, relationships cannot be avoided, and we could not survive without them. Every relationship begins with a connection, and we believe that mastering connection with universal relationship rhythms is the next evolution in our human story and our life legacy. I'm going to read that part again. We believe that mastering connection with universal relationship rhythms is the next evolution in our human story and our life legacy. Whether emotional, physical, intellectual, or spiritual, we are in many relationships and connected to someone or something from the time we wake up in the morning. Even if you're in the hospital and you wake up and there's a nurse next to you, you've got a relationship with the nurse, okay? That's just my saying it. Whether we know all the people around us or not, we are all connected as humans first, and that's where the bottom line begins. We are all connected as humans first, and that's where the bottom line begins. We, the authors, are husband and wife, and we've been living, loving, playing, and working side by side, choosing each other every day for nearly 20 years. For as long as we've been together, people constantly ask, how do you work together as a couple without making each other crazy and still have a, personal life? We had never really looked at or dissected our relationship. In fact, we were afraid to. We thought we might break it by analyzing it. We got curious, though, and we wondered if there were commonalities that flow across thriving relationships at work, at home, and beyond. So we began an expedition of discovery. While working together globally as executive event producers, business consultants, coaches, authors, and mentors, we've been honored to work with nonprofits, corporations, celebrities, heads of state, and heads of households. From classrooms to boardrooms and big brands, we began to notice clear distinctions with all successful relationships. We recognized that all relationships have a beat, a tempo, and a rhythm. Sometimes relationships can be smooth like cool jazz, or driving like rock, rap, or country, all with varied intensity that impact our connections. In our daily lives, our relationships can experience all these rhythms. Think about your favorite song, movie, play, or book, and how you connect with them from your heart. They are all written about relationships. Global borders, the environment, technology, and human rights are all shared and fought over because of relationships. Valuing the importance of relationships, Corporations spend $67 billion annually on customer relationship management systems, CRMs. As our discovery continued, we identified four universal relationship rhythms: respect, responsibility, reframing, and resilience. Working in unison across our working in unison across our personal, professional, and planetary relationships, these rhythms, quote unquote, can reduce stress and heart disease and improve the quality of life. Relationships may be the unsung determiner of success and the predictor of healthy living. We see these four universal rhythms as the lifeblood of mastering connection in every aspect of our lives. Who would you say your most important relationship is with? Your family, friends, community, your community, or your work? We are talking about all these relationships. Each of us comes to our relationships today from a long legacy of relationships from our past, our parents' past, and their parents before them. Now, last week I read this part and I explained how if I hadn't been my uncle's niece, I wouldn't be in the United States. If my uncle hadn't been my grandfather's son and supported through education and majored in Chinese, classical Chinese, and then majored in English, master's degree in Oregon, he wouldn't have been here to bring me here. My grandfather would not have been a teacher if not for great grandfather. Great grandfather was actually an opium addict. And if it hadn't been for that, my grandfather wouldn't have struggled so hard and made sure that his children were struggling in all of their education. And my uncle would not have gone to the Chiffon University and gotten a visa to come to America in 1955. So all of those relationships, and my grandmother, if she hadn't been nice to my uncle before she died, he might not have been nice to my mother, which in turn might not have come down to me, and I might have stayed in Taiwan for my whole life. So it's all about these relationships. Each of us comes to our relationships today, says the book, from a long legacy of relationships from our past, our parents' past, and their parents before them. They paved the way for who we are today and shaped much of what we believe to be true about relationships with family and friends, with social issues, with our community, with health and wellness, time and money. We are their living legacy. In the film M.o.aT, there's a Mende saying, an African tribe Mende saying that says, for I am the reason that all of my ancestors ever existed now. See? That's an interesting legacy. We are their living legacy, says the book. We inherit our relationships to family, culture, and our faith and the beliefs of those who raised us. Then, from our youth and into adulthood, we also have the opportunity to choose, quote unquote, our relationships. That means this sends chills up and down my spine. Today, we see individuals, corporations, foundations, countries, excuse me, sorry, countries, cities, and states, all in desperate need of shifting their mindset regarding the significance of relationships. When we think about where to begin in mastering our relationships, the first place, of course, is by noticing the most significant relationship 24/7, including while we sleep, is with ourselves. Think about it. How we feel about ourselves shows up in all our relationships. It is an inside out job. I think about that nurse that I was collapsing after a rollover back into my examples here. Yin Yang had an accident in 2006 where the car was upside down and it was rainy and the car just slipped sideways and just rolled upside down. It was not moving along the tires. It was like this and bloop, 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 bloop. I go to the hospital. I'm in the bed and I'm starting to cry. I'm like, I can't believe this is happening to me. I was feeling self pity, total self pity. Nurse comes along and says, I was paralyzed from the neck down, and I fought, and I got back here, and now I'm standing here today alive. And I said, okay. So I got $1,000 for the wreck of a car. I spent $1,400 on a new to me car, and there the story went on for myself. That was Yin Yang's story. Anyway, it's an inside out job. Inside out. Recognizing our connection with everyone, says the book, and every living part of our planet is at a tipping point. Recognizing our connection with everyone and every living part of our planet is at a tipping point. We invite you to look at your relationships, personal, professional, and with the planet. Ask yourself, am I living in relationship to, or am I choosing to be in relationship with my life and those in it? Am I living in sync and in tune with the relationship rhythms and choosing respect, responsibility, reframing, and resilience? Isn't it time for relationships to move front and center on the global stage we call life? Our choices determine our future, and mastering connection with relationship rhythms is the next evolution in our human story and our life legacy. Visit www.segalleadershipglobal.com. That was all one word. Segal Leadership Global. SegalLeadershipGlobal.com. Follow us on Instagram _THE_RFACTOR. The R factor. So underscore before the, underscore between the R factor. Scan for a free relationship rhythm tool. And Ken Ashby and Mary Segal. I will put this up here and see if you can scan it. Oh gosh, I don't know if you can. It's on the screen now. You can try. It's moving, but I think AI can get it. So anyway, do that again. I think that's good. And here we are. All right, there's more acknowledgments. In so many ways, this book and the journey that has brought us to this point have been a lifetime in the making. We've been fortunate for our global experiences and the amazing relationships that surround us personally and professionally. To those who have contributed so much to enrich our lives, you know who you are. You deeply touch us. We cherish and hold our friendships dear. We appreciate and are grateful for the abundance that you bring into our lives. This is so cool. For your wise counsel, support, and collaboration as the R Factor was finding its voice, Dr. Gregory Reed, Patty, P-A-T-T-I, McKenna, Wesley Bryant, two E's in Wesley, for your mentorship throughout our leadership journey, Blanton and Betty Belk, Dave and Brenda Mackay, M-A-C-K-A-Y, David Corbin, Eric with a K, Swanson with an O, Forbes, Riley, Elon, Ilan, and Louisa Bohm, Bohm, Judith Rich, Lisa Kalman, Kalmin, Lynn with an E at the end, Sheridan, Michael Strassner, Paul Colwell, Colwell, Shanda Sumpter, like it sounds, and Ash Gundahari, same as it sounds, Sharon Lecter, Wally McGuire, William E. Gregory, PhD. For your insights, feedback, and friendship on this book journey, Betsy Myers, Cindy Glanzrock, Glanzrock, Connie Desaulniers, Desaulniers, Kathy with an I, Sharp with an E, hyphen Ross, Keith Kelbeck, Kehlbeck, and Ali Webb, Robert Shabke, Shabkie, and Dan Kough, Kough, Victor McGuire. About the authors, Ken Ashby and Maris Segal coach, consult, and collaborate with executives, entrepreneurs, celebrities, and rising leaders to identify and bring their professional, personal, and philanthropic vision to life. Spanning 4 decades and 40 countries, they combine their relationship marketing experience with head and heart leadership to build meaningful connections with impactful strategies that drive their clients' internal and external success. As, quote, America's master connectors, end quote, Ken and Maris live by the philosophy that, quote, we are all connected as humans first, and that's where the bottom line begins, end quote. Together and individually, working across the public and private sectors, they have served a wide spectrum of local and global leaders, consumer and financial brands, causes, and policymakers. This dynamic duo also leverages Ken's international award-winning singer-songwriting gifts to develop collaborative teams with a songwriting workshop series. From boardrooms and classrooms to Harvard, the White House, and Super Bowl halftimes, Ken and Maris are also known for uniting diverse populations with innovative cross-cultural marketing and personal development programs that bring a creative voice to issues. The R factor, universal rhythms for leading prosperous relationships, sits at the core of their work as certified executive and relationship coaches. Ashby and Segal set a path for every client to build high performing businesses and elevate personal and professional leadership for maximum impact and a 360-degree thriving life. As authors, they have been featured in 13 Amazon best-selling leadership-centered books. They speak regularly and were recently featured at TEDx Farmingdale. To connect, visit www.segalleadershipglobal.com. Follow Ken Ashby and Maris Segal on Instagram _THE_RFACTOR. So this has been their book. Listen, let me read the first titles. Okay, connection, opportunity, relationships, the R factor. Under respect, they have listen, trust, and choices. You remember that Ken Ashby's character, Rich, had to, oops, sorry, had to learn to listen to criticism without throwing out the relationship. And then trust. Trust. Let's see what trust was about. Chapter 5. Trust was about how you trust yourself is reflected in your relationships. Trust your instincts. The first parts are connection. Relationships begin with a connection, and the one relationship that you can't leave home without is you. Opportunity. We are where we are when we're meant to be. Relationships. Relationships are the most significant factor impacting and influencing every aspect of our life. Listen. Active listening is a full body experience and increases the possibility of hearing the music beneath the words. Wow. Wow. Trust. How you trust yourself is reflected in your relationships. Trust your instincts. Like Yin Yang says, your gut will never lead you wrong. I had a sick feeling in my stomach when I got married. That was not a good sign. Well, anyway, back to 6. Choices. How you choose to give is how you choose to live. Responsibility. In the rhythm of responsibility, we are intentional, we are committed, we communicate clearly, and we stand accountable for our actions. When we are responsible, expectations are aligned and our relationships are full of possibilities. Number 7, intention. Intention is the fuel for ascension. Number 8, communicate. When communication and expectations are aligned, magic happens. Gratitude. Gratitude is the melody for the song of success. Accepting. Acceptance. Accepting the unexpected expands our ability to shift. Perspective. A perspective stalled by the past limits the present. Resilience. In the rhythm of resilience, we stand up and step forward with consistent action and accept support to courageously face and navigate inevitable change. When we are resilient, our relationships are inspired and renewed. Consistency. Consistent action is the kryptonite of complacency. Inspiration. Inspiration is the power tool of creative vision. Change. Renewal is unplugging from your past to energize your future. Vision. We are all connected as humans first, and that's where the bottom line begins. Okay. Old Kinderheck.